The first birthday party I ever missed was the day my daughter turned 5. She cried because I wasn't there. I cried because I couldn't afford to be. Funny how tears can fall for completely different reasons. My name is Eleanor, and I'm 76 years old now. The silver in my hair arrived one strand at a time, just like the worries that filled my life. My hands are stiff, my knees complain every morning, and I still keep a little pink birthday candle in the kitchen drawer. Most people would throw away something so small after 25 years. I never could. Because every time I looked at it, I remembered the little girl who believed her mother simply didn't love her enough to come home. Her name is Lily. To the world, she's a brilliant architect with glass towers carrying her signature across skylines. To me, she's still the little girl who used to run into my arms shouting, "Mommy, guess what?" There was a time when hearing those words erased every ache in my body. I just didn't know that one day she would stop saying them. Her father left when Lily was only 3 years old. He packed one suitcase, walked to the front door, looked back once, then smiled like he was doing us a favor. "You'll manage," he said. Manage. Such a small word. It doesn't tell you about overdue rent. It doesn't tell you about empty refrigerators. It certainly doesn't tell you how terrifying it feels to look at your child while wondering how you'll buy tomorrow's breakfast. After he left, I sat on the living room floor with Lily asleep in my lap. She had no idea our lives had changed forever. She was holding a stuffed rabbit missing one button eye. She smiled in her sleep. I kissed her forehead. "I don't know how yet," I whispered, "but you're going to have a beautiful life." The next morning, I began searching for work. One job became 2. 2 became 3. During the mornings I cleaned office buildings before employees arrived. In the afternoons I worked at a bakery. At night I folded laundry at a 24-hour laundromat while Lily slept at Mrs. Carter's apartment across the hall. Mrs. Carter refused to charge me much. "You'll pay me back by letting me spoil that little angel." She adored Lily. Sometimes I'd come home after midnight and find the two of them asleep on the couch. Lily's tiny hand would still be wrapped around Mrs. Carter's finger. I'd stand there smiling through tired eyes. "Thank you," I'd whisper. Mrs. Carter would pretend she hadn't heard. Every year, Lily's school sent home colorful invitations for birthday celebrations. The children would spend weeks talking about balloons, cakes, presents, and games. Lily always came home glowing with excitement. "Mom, my birthday is on Saturday this year." "I know. You'll come, right?" I looked at the calendar. Saturday. Double shift. Without that shift, we wouldn't make rent. I forced a smile. "I'll try my best." Children hear those words differently than adults. To them, "I'll try" sounds exactly like "I'll be there." For the next 2 weeks she drew pictures of the party. She colored balloons with crayons worn almost down to their paper wrappers. She drew me standing beside her blowing out candles. Every drawing had us holding hands. She even wrote beneath one picture in crooked letters, "Me and Mommy forever." I pinned it to the refrigerator. Then I cried where she couldn't see me. 3 days before her birthday, my supervisor called me into the office. "Eleanor." "Yes?" "We're short-staffed." My stomach tightened. "I need you Saturday. My daughter's birthday." He sighed. "I know. Could I leave for just 2 hours?" He looked at the schedule, then slowly shook his head. "If you leave, don't come back." I nodded. "I understand." I didn't. But I nodded anyway. On Saturday morning, Lily woke before sunrise. She climbed into my bed wearing her favorite pajamas covered with little yellow stars. "Today's my birthday." "I know, sweetheart." She wrapped her arms around my neck. "You'll see my magic show." "I hope so." "You promised." The word sliced straight through me. I had never actually promised. But hope sounds exactly like a promise to a child. Before leaving for work, I placed a tiny wrapped box beside her pillow. Inside was a silver bracelet with a small heart charm. I'd spent 4 months secretly saving for it. She opened it immediately. "It's beautiful." She threw her arms around me. "Now hurry home. I'll do everything I can." She waved from the apartment window as I walked toward the bus stop. I turned around 4 different times just to see her waving. Each time, she was still there. At work, every minute felt heavier than the last. While frosting birthday cakes for strangers, I imagined Lily staring at the front door, listening for my footsteps, checking the clock. Again. And again. Around 3 o'clock I quietly asked another employee, "What time is it?" 3. Her party had started. At 4. She was probably playing games. At 5. She would be blowing out candles. I excused myself to the restroom, locked the door, covered my mouth, and cried so hard my shoulders shook. Not because I wanted sympathy. Because somewhere across town, my little girl was looking for me. When my shift finally ended, I ran all the way home carrying a bakery box. Inside was the prettiest chocolate cake I had ever decorated. I had written in pink icing, "Happy birthday, Lily. Love, Mom." By the time I reached our apartment, the lights were off. The balloons had already begun to sink toward the floor. Mrs. Carter quietly opened the door. "She's asleep." "So early?" Mrs. Carter looked away. "She waited for you until almost 9. I swallowed hard. "Did she have fun?" Mrs. Carter hesitated, then softly answered. "She kept asking every few minutes, 'Did Mommy forget my birthday?'" I nearly dropped the cake. I walked into Lily's bedroom. She was curled up with her stuffed rabbit. Even in her sleep, tears had dried on her little cheeks. Beside her pillow lay the bracelet. She wasn't wearing it. Instead, there was a folded piece of paper. In shaky handwriting only a 5-year-old could manage, it read, "I wish my mommy loved me more than work." My knees gave out beneath me. I sank onto the floor beside her bed. Because in that heartbreaking moment, I realized my greatest sacrifice was becoming my daughter's greatest misunderstanding. And I had no idea that this little note would change the course of both our lives forever. The little note stayed in my purse for the next 20 years. Not because I wanted to remember the pain. Because I never wanted to forget the price of every decision I made. Whenever life became difficult, I'd unfold that tiny piece of paper with its crooked letters. "I wish my mommy loved me more than work." Every time I read it, I whispered the same answer. "Oh, sweetheart. I loved you so much that I chose work." But children don't understand sacrifices they cannot see. They only understand empty chairs. The next morning, Lily acted as though nothing had happened. Children are strange that way. They forgive long before they understand. She smiled at breakfast. "Can I wear my bracelet today?" I nearly cried into my coffee. "Of course." She slipped it onto her tiny wrist and held it toward the sunlight pouring through the kitchen window. "It sparkles." "So do you." She giggled. "You always say that." "Because it's true." She laughed so hard she spilled orange juice across the table. "Oh no." We both looked at the mess. Then she burst into laughter again. Within seconds, I was laughing with her. Mrs. Carter knocked on the door. "What in the world is so funny?" Lily pointed at the puddle. "The orange juice attacked us." Mrs. Carter placed both hands on her hips. "I knew we couldn't trust that juice." Lily laughed until she hiccuped. For a few beautiful minutes, life felt normal. Those moments became my oxygen. Unfortunately, birthdays kept coming. And so did bills. When Lily turned 6, I missed another party. When she turned 7. Another double shift. 8. 9. 10. Every birthday ended the same way. I would leave before sunrise. She would smile and tell herself, "This year will be different." I would hurry home carrying a cake, a wrapped gift, and enough guilt to crush a mountain. She would already be asleep. Every single year. One evening, after her 9th birthday, I overheard something that hollowed me out from the inside. I had returned home quietly because I didn't want to wake her. Mrs. Carter was tucking Lily into bed. Lily asked in the softest voice, "Can I ask something?" "Anything, sweetheart." "Do you think Mom likes her job more than me?" Mrs. Carter froze. "No, honey." "Then why is she always there instead of here?" Silence. Long. Painful silence. Finally Mrs. Carter sat beside her. "Your mom works because she loves you." Lily shook her head. "If she loved me." Her voice cracked. "She'd come to my birthdays." I leaned against the hallway wall. My legs refused to move. Mrs. Carter looked toward the doorway. She knew I was standing there. She knew I had heard every word. After Lily fell asleep, Mrs. Carter found me sitting on the kitchen floor. "You can't keep blaming yourself. She thinks I don't love her. She's a child. But children grow up." Mrs. Carter reached for my hand. "Then one day she'll understand." I wanted to believe her. I truly did. But understanding seemed farther away every year. When Lily entered middle school, things changed. Not all at once. Just little pieces at a time. She stopped running into my arms after school. She stopped telling me every detail about her day. Our dinner conversations became shorter. "How was school?" "Fine." "What did you learn?" "Nothing." "You look tired." "I'm okay." Sometimes she disappeared into her room before I could even take off my coat. One Saturday I surprised her by getting the entire day off. I hadn't had a free Saturday in almost 3 years. I practically skipped home. "I've got the whole day with my girl." I bought pancake mix, fresh strawberries, maple syrup. I even rented one of her favorite movies. When I opened the apartment door, she wasn't there. Mrs. Carter sighed. "She's at Jessica's birthday party." My smile faded. "I forgot." Mrs. Carter looked at me gently. "No." She paused. "You weren't there when she told you." The word settled heavily in my chest. I sat at the kitchen table staring at the untouched strawberries. Hours later Lily came home carrying a party favor bag. She looked surprised. "You're home?" "I took today off." "Oh. I thought we could spend the day together." She looked down at the floor. "I already made plans." "I know." An awkward silence filled the apartment. Finally I smiled. "Next Saturday?" She shrugged. "Maybe." Maybe. One word. Yet somehow it sounded colder than winter. By the time Lily entered high school, she had stopped asking if I'd attend her birthday parties. She simply assumed I wouldn't. One afternoon I found a school assignment lying on the dining table. The title read, "The Person Who Knows Me Best." I smiled. Surely she had written about me. Curious, I read the first sentence. "The person who knows me best is my neighbor, Mrs. Carter." My hands trembled. She came to every birthday, every school play, every dance recital, every science fair. She never missed anything important. I couldn't breathe. My mother was always working. That was it. No anger. No insults. Just 4 simple words. They hurt more because they were true. Weeks later, Lily graduated from high school. The ceremony took place on a Thursday afternoon. For the first time in years, I requested the day off months in advance. I wasn't going to miss this. Not for anything. I arrived an hour early. I sat in the front row holding flowers so tightly that my fingers ached. When Lily walked across the stage, I stood before everyone else. That's my daughter. People smiled. She accepted her diploma. Then our eyes met. I waved excitedly. For just 1 second. She smiled. But it wasn't the smile she used to give me. It was polite. Distant. As if she were smiling at someone she respected. Not someone she truly knew anymore. After the ceremony, families surrounded their children with hugs and photographs. I hurried toward Lily. I am so proud of you. She hugged me gently. Thanks. I've got a reservation at your favorite restaurant. She hesitated. I already made plans. With who? My friends. I thought. I know. She looked away. I'll see you tonight. Then she walked toward Mrs. Carter first. Wrapped both arms around her. And whispered. Thank you for always being there. I watched from only a few feet away. Holding flowers that suddenly felt far too heavy. Mrs. Carter looked at me with tears in her eyes. She mouthed 2 silent words. I'm sorry. I nodded. Because none of this was her fault. She had simply loved my daughter whenever I physically couldn't. That night, after Lily left for college, I walked into her empty bedroom. Inside the closet, I noticed an old cardboard box. At first I smiled. Maybe she'd forgotten something. When I opened it, I found every birthday card I had ever given her. Every single one. Still sealed. Still unopened. And taped to the inside of the lid was another note. 1 sentence. Written when she was 17. Maybe one day I'll understand why your job always came before me. I held that note against my heart. Completely unaware that one day, many years later, Lily would finally discover the truth hidden inside a dusty file box beneath my bed. And when she did, everything she believed about her childhood would change forever. The older I became, the quieter my house grew. After Lily left for college, the apartment seemed too large for one person, even though it had always been small. The hallway no longer echoed with hurried footsteps. No music drifted from her bedroom. No voice shouted from the kitchen. Mom. Where are my shoes? I used to complain about the noise. Now, I would have given anything to hear it one more time. Every Sunday, I still washed her favorite blue blanket. I knew she wasn't coming home every weekend anymore. I washed it anyway. It still smelled faintly like the lavender detergent she'd loved as a little girl. Sometimes I'd sit on the edge of her bed, smoothing the wrinkles with my hand, pretending she had just left for class. Loneliness has a strange way of convincing your heart that yesterday is only a few minutes away. Lily graduated from college with honors. I was there. Of course I was there. I requested the day off 6 months in advance. Nothing on earth could have kept me away. She walked across the stage wearing a black graduation gown, smiling brighter than the morning sun. I stood and clapped until my hands stung. That's my daughter. People around me smiled. One elderly gentleman chuckled. You sound proud. I've been proud since the day she was born. After the ceremony, I hurried toward her holding a bouquet of white lilies. Her favorite flowers. She accepted them politely. They're beautiful. They reminded me of you. She smiled. Thanks, Mom. Before I could say another word, several classmates surrounded her. Lily. We're taking pictures. She looked at me apologetically. I'll call you later. I nodded. Go celebrate. She walked away laughing with her friends. I stood there holding the empty ribbon that had wrapped the flowers. For a brief second, I wondered if she had even noticed I was crying. Life moved quickly after that. She found a wonderful job. Then another. Promotions came faster than birthdays. Every phone call became shorter. I'm busy. I have a meeting. I'll call tomorrow. Tomorrow rarely came. Still. Every birthday, I mailed her a handwritten card. Every Christmas, I wrapped a gift. Sometimes she thanked me. Sometimes she forgot. I never stopped sending them. One rainy afternoon, while cleaning beneath my bed, I pulled out an old metal storage box. Inside were dozens of folders. Pay stubs. Time cards. Work schedules. Receipts. Old calendars covered with handwritten notes. I smiled sadly. So this is where our life went. One folder caught my attention. It was labeled Lily's Birthdays. I slowly opened it. Inside were 23 years of memories. Requests for time off. Every single one denied. Manager's notes. Shift schedules. Overtime records. Even the birthday invitations Lily had proudly handed me before each party. I had kept every one. Folded carefully. Protected like treasure. Tucked inside the first invitation was a yellow receipt. It was dated the morning of her 5th birthday. The bakery had charged me nothing for the cake because the owner had quietly written across the bottom. Employee appreciation gift. I laughed through my tears. Mr. Wilson, you kind old man. I remembered exactly what he had said. Eleanor, every child deserves a birthday cake. I can't pay for it. You already have. How? By showing up every day. I had never forgotten those words. As I continued looking through the folders, I found another envelope. Inside were dozens of tiny photographs. Most had been taken secretly by Mrs. Carter. There was Lily blowing out birthday candles. Lily opening presents. Lily smiling with friends. In almost every photograph, there was an empty chair beside her. Mrs. Carter had circled it gently with blue ink. I suddenly understood why. She wanted me to know exactly where I would have been sitting. My tears landed on the photographs one after another. I'm sorry. I whispered to every picture. So very sorry. That evening I invited Mrs. Carter over for tea. She was much older now. Walking required a cane. But her smile hadn't changed. She noticed the folders spread across the table. You kept everything. I couldn't throw away our life. She carefully picked up one of the birthday invitations. You know. She began quietly. Lily used to wait by the window every year. I lowered my eyes. I know. No. Mrs. Carter shook her head. You don't. I looked up. What do you mean? After every party ended, she'd tell the other children. Mrs. Carter paused, struggling to continue. My mom is probably helping someone. A tear rolled down my cheek. Really? She defended you for years. Mrs. Carter reached across the table and squeezed my hand. She didn't stop believing in your love overnight. Then what happened? Disappointment happened. Neither of us spoke for several moments. Finally I stood. I need to organize these. What are you doing? If something ever happens to me. I looked toward the hallway. I want Lily to know. Mrs. Carter nodded. I think she will. For the next several days, I carefully arranged everything. Every denied vacation request. Every paycheck. Every overtime slip. Every birthday invitation. Every receipt showing rent, groceries, medicine, school tuition, winter coats, dance shoes, textbooks, braces, and college savings. On top of the folders, I placed one final letter. Not to defend myself. Not to make Lily feel guilty. Simply to tell her the truth. Years passed. My hands grew weaker. My eyesight faded. One cold winter morning, my doctor smiled kindly before saying words every elderly person secretly fears. Eleanor. He folded his hands. I think it's time to spend less time worrying about tomorrow, and more time enjoying today. I understood exactly what he meant. When I returned home, I placed the metal storage box beneath my bed. Then I called Lily. It went to voicemail. I left the same message I had left dozens of times before. Hi, sweetheart. I was just thinking about you. No reason. I love you. Call whenever you have time. She didn't call that day. Or the next. 3 weeks later. Mrs. Carter stood beside my hospital bed holding my hand. I smiled at her. Promise me something. Anything. When Lily comes. I struggled to catch my breath. Tell her to look under my bed. Mrs. Carter wiped away her tears. I promise. I closed my eyes for a moment. Thinking about birthdays. About little pink candles. About chocolate cakes. About a tiny bracelet sparkling in the sunlight. And about a little girl who had once believed her mother loved work more than her. I prayed with all my heart. That before it was too late, she would finally discover what had really kept me away from every birthday party. Because hidden beneath that old bed was the truth that would change her entire life forever.